Ooh, ooh, wow. A completely different setup. Can you believe that? Ooh. Um, it's goes because Halloween. Um, Foxy jump scare. So, as I would assume a lot of you know, it's Halloween time. And Halloween is I think, a pretty spooky season. Personally, it's my second favorite season. Well, holiday, I'm sorry. And a word you can describe Halloween would be spooky. And Ninjago is a Lego show, if you didn't know. In this Lego show, they occasionally will dip their toes into spookiness. But this isn't Invader Zim. This isn't Gravity Falls. This is going crazy, but they do try sometimes. Sometimes it's the entire season. Sometimes it's a seed or two. And in this video, I will be ranking seasons based on how spooky I find them. So yeah, let's jump right into it. I got the tier list set up right here. Let me just pull that up real quick. And bada boom, bing bang. Here we are, the tier list. We have S, practically R rated, because if the Ninjago is spooky, then what can beat that? That's literally like you shouldn't even be showing your children this. A, pretty spooky, there's spooky bits throughout the season, but it doesn't reach the spookiness of spooky. That's an S tier. B, spookiness here and there. There's a spooky scene here, there's a spooky scene there, nothing S tier. One or two spooky scenes. Pretty self-explanatory, one or two spooky scenes. And we have F, no spooky scenes whatsoever. So let's begin. We're gonna go in order from season of release. So despite season 11 Fire Chapter and Ice Chapter being last right here, I'm gonna do it whenever we get to season 11. Okay, so anyways, the pilots. I think I will put the pilots in C tier. And here's why it's not an F tier. The underworld. Right, that realm, I'm pretty sure, because I haven't seen a lot of these early seasons in a long time. So if I'm missing a scene that should place it higher, my bad. But yeah, the underworld, I would say, is a pretty spooky location. I'm pretty sure there are spiders like skulls on their back. Their abdomen, I believe that part of their body is called. Speaking of skulls, there's skeletons, samukai, crunch and knuckle. Though they're kind of goofy characters, skeletons I think are inherently spooky beings. So, despite there being skeletons in a lot of them, I'm gonna put it in C tier and not B tier because those skeletons are pretty goofy. So yeah, C tier for the pilots. Season 1. I'm really, really, really stuck in between putting it in F and C tier. It's between those two because I do think it technically has one spooky scene, and that's when the first scene where the Great Devourer comes out from what's that place called? The city of Ouroboros, yeah, underneath the ground of the city of Ouroboros. I think that scene, the presentation of it, the tone and the music, and the fact that the credits don't even play the Weekend Whip, all of that makes it a very, very spooky scene. The thing is, though, that's kinda about it. There's nothing before or after that I can really think of that makes this season really that spooky. So for that, I'll put it in C tier underneath the pilots. Also, I'll just say this right now, this has something to do with the placement. Again, I do think I need to preface this. This is not in terms of quality, this is in terms of spookiness, because season 1, I absolutely adore this season. I think it's the best pre-movie design season easily. But yeah, going from that to one of my least favorite pre-movie design seasons, season 2. Yeah, not a big fan of this one, but we're not talking about quality, we're talking about spookiness. And this is also a C tier. And I believe we all know why. I'm pretty sure we're all thinking of exactly the same thing, which is putting it in this C tier above season 1. It's the Overlord taking over Garmadon's body. That metamorphosis scene definitely scared a lot of people as children. There's also another scene in the finale. There's this one bit where like the Overlord kind of engulfs Lloyd in darkness. He's starting to completely shift the sky into pure black, pitch blackness and whatever. And there's like a bit where like he emerges from pure darkness laughing and he bites Lloyd. That scene not only is pretty spooky, but is top 5 aura scenes from the Overlord. I absolutely love how cool that scene is. So yeah, there's nothing really spooky pre-episode, I think 12 of the season. You know, the first half is just a bunch of goofy shenanigans, and then the Dark Island stuff is, I mean, it's there. So yeah, C tier above season 1, below the pilots. I think that's a good spot to place this. Rebooted. I think I'm gonna put Rebooted above the pilots. I don't know. It's definitely still in C tier. It's somewhere here, somewhere. I don't know. Because like you have that scene where like actually, this is a tough one. I don't know if I should put it up in B because like there actually is quite a few spooky scenes. There's a scene where the Overlord like takes over Cybersborg. There's a scene where he takes over Wu. There's the scene wait, is that no? I know it's not. I'm pretty sure there's like a specific Digiverse scene that's pretty spooky, but I can't think of it off the top of my head because again, I haven't watched these seasons in a long time, and why would I rewatch Rebooted of all seasons? But yeah, I think I'll put it in C tier above the pilots because it definitely has quite a few spooky scenes. Maybe B tier. I'll put it in B tier if I can find like some good B tier seasons, but yeah, C tier for now. Next up we have Tournament of Elements, which I think is a pretty good season. Probably the second best absolutely the second best pre-movie design season. Anyways, this is gonna go in C tier last place. The only really spooky scenes I can think of off the top of my head is it has to do with everything with Klaus's big Anaconda snake. The scene where like Garmadon and Nia are like stuck to chains and there's like a bunch of skulls. I think that's a pretty good and spooky scenes because it kind of implies that, you know, they've done this before and the snake has eaten people. And the snake is about to do that to, not Klaus, Garmadon and Nia. That's pretty good. There's also the scene where Zane and Cole try to escape from the snake while they're underground in that area. So yeah, that's really all I can remember in terms of spookiness from season 4. So yeah, absolutely C tier. It's not F tier because, you know, there's some stuff, so yeah. Next up, Possession. I mean, let's just cut to the chase. It's them fighting ghosts. I think the episode is called Temple on Haunted Hill. That episode alone, that single episode alone, is more spooky than these 5 installments. Temple on Haunted Hill is probably my third, or it's up there. It's like a top 3 Possession episode. There's Morrow's Dragon, which design-wise, it's very spooky. Morrow himself is spooky. You know, he's a dead student of Wu's, coming back to practically haunt the ninja. He takes over Lloyd's body. The atmosphere, the settings, the places they go to, it gives up a very spooky vibe. The City of Styx, the entire finale with the preeminent, they're fighting ghosts. I mean, come on, it's just the spooky season. So I gotta just put it here. Skybound. I think this is my least favorite season, but thoughts on seasons aside, I mean, would you classify the scene where like he's playing chess with Zane spooky? I think it's tense, but spooky? But yeah, I can't really think of many spooky scenes from this season. I could think of tense scenes and, you know, stuff like that, but spooky? Like, I'm gonna sit here and just think on it for just a few like seconds. If I can't think of anything, we're gonna put it in F. So yeah, let me just sit here and think. Yeah, there's really nothing that's popping into my head. So unless there's like a scene I'm missing, you could tell me. But like, yeah, I'm gonna put an F tier. Classic Skybound, getting F. Day of the Departed. I think I'll also put it in S. Maybe it's between S or S and A because like, as we were just talking about, I don't know what season was. It was either 5 or 6, but presentation. Yes, this season has spooky concepts and ideas. The ghost of former villains coming back and hunting a ninja, trying to get them killed so they could take their place in the living. That's spooky. They go back to like the haunted temple from season 5. That's spooky. The fight against ghosts, Yang. That's spooky. But the presentation of it is goofy. Like I'm pretty sure like you've seen this season if you're watching this video. The deaths of the villains, that's pure goofiness. It's ridiculous. Samukai, I'm pretty sure gets a goofy death too, but I'm thinking of Cryptor. He swings at Zane, Zane jumps, Cryptor hits himself, falls off a tree, and dies. Huh? There's also the two Anaconda. I think it's they're like a duo in season 4, Kapow and Chop. I think there's also Izor. I'm pretty sure they died because they hit their heads on a tree branch or something, and they like fall off their bikes and crash into each other. It's ridiculous. It's spooky in concept, but in execution, it's just really, really unserious and goofy, which is in stark contrast to Possession up here, which is spooky in concept and execution. So for that, I think I'm just gonna have to put it in A tier because like, though it is like, again, spooky in concept, the way they show off and present this stuff is just very ridiculous. Season 7. I mean, I don't really know. Season 7 is kind of goofy. I think the presentation of Wu's thoughts in terms of his failures to Garment, like the specific nightmare scene, it's in like the later half of the season where like he's being hunted by Misako, Moro, Garmadon, the Time Twins. I think that's a pretty spooky scene. I think the swamp, presentation wise and as a location and setting, is spooky. And that's about it, so I'm putting it in C tier. Season 8, that's going right in A tier above Day of the Departed. The whole bit with the spider and Dead Man Squall, that's pure bona fide spookiness. There's Garmadon's resurrection, that's very spooky. The reason I'm not gonna put it in S is because it really isn't consistent, Spooky, or the season as a whole gets more spooky after Dead Man Squall. And there's a lot of like dark stuff in this season. Like, again, people like to call the only trilogy Ninjago's darkest era, the best era. I had this person I used to talk to like a long time ago. He used to call the only trilogy Ninjago's Daredevil seasons, and there's a reason for that. These seasons are pretty mature, I don't want to say scary because it's Lego Ninjago, but yeah, in terms of like comparative to the rest of the seasons, season 8 is pretty scary. So I'll put it in A tier, above Day of the Departed. And Hunted definitely has quite a few scary scenes. Mr. E's death is a scene that, in comparison to the rest of the show, is spooky, scary, and mature. I don't like how people use this scene as a gotcha for saying Ninjago is a kid show, like, oh my god, look, they're Garmadon's taking apart this robot, it's so scary, it's not for children. It is for children. It's an intense scene, but it's a robot. There's really nothing graphic going on here, so yeah. But in comparison to the other seasons, it is pretty intense, it is pretty scary. Same for the scene where he does the same to Harumi. He doesn't like, rip apart them from them. If they did that, then I will agree that's insane, but, they don't, because, Harumi's a human and Mr. E's a robot, and the show loves to beat up its robot characters.
I was not sure.
What's going on here?
How's it going, man? How are you?
What's going on here? What's going on here? What's going?
But yeah, there's that. There's Iron Baron sitting on the throne of the Ultra Dragon in episode 2. Conceptually, there's the Dragon Hunters eating and hunting dragons. That's kind of crazy and I guess intense in a way. There's Skylar taking Gameran's power of destruction and it poisoning her. I think that's kind of spooky. There's Mistake and her fight with Gameran, the fight with Kilo, Ultra, Violet, Harumi, Skylar. That whole sequence, and when Gameran off-screen kills Mistake, that's pretty spooky, So, this season has quite a bit of, stuff to it. Thinking about it, I think I might put it above Sons of Gameran, actually. Yeah. Second place so far. March of the Oni. I'm gonna put in Spookiness here and there. It's not as mature, it's not as serious, nor as good as the previous 2 installments, but it has its fair share of spookiness, the Oni. Omega creeping out of the ground and coming out of the realm crystal, him sending the Oni out, them basically turning whoever they touch into statues practically. That's spooky stuff. But Gameran is kind of cracking jokes throughout it, so it kind of lowers the intensity and seriousness of it. And the final episode, I feel like it kind of loses the threat, especially when it comes to the Oni. Like, they're just... yeah, they did take over every realm, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, they got the ninja cornered, but in terms of execution, I don't really feel the threat. And then there's Gameran's Oni form, which is... like, okay, dude, that's pure definition goofiness. So yeah, it's definitely more spooky than, these 6 seasons, these 7 seasons, but it doesn't come up to par with these 4. Up next, we got Peak. I absolutely love season 11. It's probably a top 5 season for me. I absolutely I just love. I know the tone gets crapped out a lot, but I absolutely love the tone. I love the way the characters are handled here. I love the animation. I love the villains. I just love me some season 11. Great season. So, back on topic. Where would I put it? I think I'll put it probably low C tier as a whole. And I'll do this with these seasons. Season 11 Fire Chapter, I don't think it's spooky whatsoever. The reason the season as a whole is in C tier is because of the Ice Chapter. I think the vibe and presentation of the whole Ice Emperor Fortress and that whole area is very good. I think it's definitely more spooky than stuff in F tier. So I'll put it above the season as a whole. Maybe season 7. Yeah, because if we're talking the entire chapter, then the chapter on its own, then yeah, I would say it's spookier than season 7. I'm also thinking of Vex, specifically in A Fragile Hope. The way there's a specific shot of him I think looks very, very good, and presentation wise it's very spooky. I'll put it on screen if I have the episode downloaded. If not, I will download the episode so I can show it. But yeah, Ice Chapter, spookiness here and there. Fire Chapter is goofy, not a problem because again, I absolutely love the Fire Chapter, but yeah, it's just not very spooky. Season 12 is not spooky whatsoever in any regard. There's the Forest of Discontent, but again, it's not very spooky or scary or anything of that sort, so yeah. Next up, we have another one of my absolute favorites, Master of the Mountain. Again, top 5 season for me, absolutely spectacular, and it's going in either high C or low B. High C is great drink, by the way. I love high C fruit punch. Anyways, back on topic. Yeah, it's not gonna go in F because, it's not gonna go in F or low C because there are some inherently spooky ideas presented here. Skeletons, as presented in the pilot. I think the Skull Sorcerer is, design-wise, a very spooky villain. The soundtrack of the season, also pretty spooky, especially the Skull Sorcerer's theme. We're dealing with a bone dragon. There's, that's really the extent of spookiness I can think of, so, yeah, there's definitely some spooky stuff here. Poster's also, like, pretty... Again, when I say things are dark and scary, I mean in relative and in comparison to the season up here, but, like, pretty spooky, you have your heaven, underworld type aesthetic here, so, yeah, I think I'll put it in high C. I really want to give it low B, but this is kind of hard. Decisions. Yeah, I really don't know. I think, because I like this season so much, I'm gonna throw it a bone this one time. Bone because, like, skeletons, because the Rick and Warriors. Oh, that's another spooky aspect. How to do it and how he has the ability to, like, reanimate dead corpse. Kind of, it's not really corpse, it's skeletons, but, like, yeah. I'm giving it a B tier. The island is not spooky whatsoever. I don't think I really have to go into detail why. The most spookiness, like, scariest or spookiest thing I can really give this season is zippy jump scares people here and there. A long time ago, when I used to make different types of videos on here, I had a series called 5 Nights at Zippy's, which put FNAF jump scares over scenes of Zippy jump scaring people. So for that reason, I'll put it above the fire chapter. Seabound, absolute peak. But it's the top 3 season in my opinion. But we're not here to talk about quality yet again. We're here to talk about spookiness. Is this season spooky? Is it scary? It's probably gonna go in C tier. I think the whole, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Presentation of Wojira is pretty spooky, I guess. So, right here, definitely under season 2, above season 1. Yeah, that's really about. Don't necessarily hate. I think it's okay. But again, I have mentioned this multiple times. I'm not here to talk about quality. We're here to talk about spookiness. And it's definitely a step above the rest. I think I'll put it right here. In terms of concepts, we're dealing with zombies here. As Jay puts it in Catastrophe, they're turning into crystal zombies. The Overlord, I mean, no season with the Overlord, it's going in F tier. It's going to go in C and above because the Overlord is an inherently spooky and, again, in terms of Ninjago seasons and in comparison, scary character. I'm thinking of the scene where he first meets Harumi in his little void. The scene where, like, he pops out of the crystal, I think is an absolutely wicked scene. I'm pretty sure it's the episode right before Coming of the King. It's Darkness Within. The whole bit was like, what was it you said to me the last time we fought? Oh yeah, this ends now. And how it, like, fades in the darkness slowly. It's like the background, then his body, then his face, and his eyes, and then full black. That's great. That's really good. Oh, I'm getting a call. Phone call over. Okay, so yeah, crystallized. I'll probably get above much of the mountain and underneath much of the alley because I have this fair share of spookiness. You know, the crystal zombies, the overlord, the invasion on Ninjago City. The way it's done specifically here, the way they have to like hide out and make sure they aren't caught by the crystal zombies. All that I think is presented and executed somewhat decently. Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 1 is not spooky whatsoever. I hate to do it. I really do, but like I think it's gonna go in last place. There's nothing like I've watched everything past season 13 multiple times. That includes this season. And there's really absolutely nothing in this season that I think is even remotely scary or distracting me. With the exception of that one shot where after Lloyd takes in the energy from the energy source dragon, he like sees a bunch of visions. The one shot of him looking at like this desert with a bunch of I guess graves and ninja hoods. I think that's like the only spooky thing in this season. Other than that, maybe there is more and I just had to sit and think about it, but like again, I've seen this season very recently. Lego has like 24/7 streams of all Dragons Rising. I pop in and out. I haven't noticed anything in this season that's very scary. Okay, I just thought of something. The Howlers. That puts it above all of that. The Howlers and the curse that happens after Nia incorrectly uses a Jinn artifact. That I would say is spooky. Specifically the shot where like they come out of the cave, their face slowly appears from the darkness. I would say that is, I guess, spooky. There's also the Bone Warriors, but they're goofy characters, so yeah. Good. You're lucky, Dragons Rising Season 1. You almost got last place here. By the way, this is in order. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've made that apparent as I've been talking and placing them, but yeah, this is in order. So far this is first and this is last. Season 2 of Dragons Rising is my absolute favorite season of this entire franchise. I love it so much. I absolutely adore both parts of the season so much. And it's probably gonna get either A or S tier. High A or S tier. First of all, the Blood Moon. Aesthetically, it's spooky. The visions that Lloyd gets, they could be seen as intrusive thoughts or nightmares. The concept of shattering your inner goodness. There's in part 2 they go through an entire murder mystery. This season has its fair share of spookiness, and I would say alongside Possession and season 3 that this is absolutely a Halloween season. It is absolutely a very spooky season. The almost the entirety of episode 10, well, basically the entirety of the last 3 episodes of part 1, it's drenched in blood moon imagery, and that is just absolutely wicked, it's awesome, and it's very spooky. And in contrast to the rest of these seasons. So yeah, I'm putting Dragons Rising Season 2 in high A tier. Fantastic season. I absolutely love the season so much. Amazing. Yeah, quality aside, this season is S tier. I don't know if it's higher than Possession. The only reason I would put it higher than Possession is because there's technically a higher quantity of spookiness and episodes. Like part 2 of season 3 is the main chunk of the season where we get into the spectral dragonians and soul sucking stuff, but there's bits of that in part 1 with episode 3, the spectral lands. Mainly it's in part 2 with spectral dragonians, soul sucking, all that stuff, the atmosphere, the way the environment completely shifts to this dark blue, cloudy. Whenever the hallowed Forbidden Five come up and play their sinister song, which again, soundtrack wise, it's very good when it comes being spooky and distraughting. So yeah, I think for those reasons I might put it above Possession, but like these two are practically neck and neck. They're both very spooky seasons, like easily S tiers. So yeah, that's the end of it. Um, every season ranked in terms of spookiness. This specific format, I will probably, I mean, I don't know, I'm saying I will probably, I will absolutely return to doing it later. I'm pretty sure I might do it for my season 3 review, which is gonna come out in December, like my last two. Um, yeah, overall, Ninjago is a show that airs for sure. It's continuously getting seasons, undoubtedly. Lloyd is the Green Ninja, which is an observation you could come to while watching the show. There is a line of sets that you can buy that comes alongside each season, and yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on the matter of the Ninjago seasons being spooky. So I will see you next time. I said I will see you next time. Goodbye.